Welcome to the Dan Stevens Show. Something a bit different today, tonight, whatever time of the day it is for you. I have a few different parts to today's show, and yes, it is just me by myself. No guest today. Yeah. That's just the way it is. Next episode there will be a guest on. But thank you for joining me anyway. Okay, so there's something amazing happened last night. It's involving this piece of food. Yeah. Hold it up to the camera. Molly is here with me. Molly got this for me in Scotland. Whereabouts in Scotland, Molly? Wait, can you hold it back a bit? Scottish butter brick, is it? What's it called?
Scottish butter tablet.
A Scottish butter tablet. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. As you can see, it's open and it looks like a mouse has got at it. For those people listening, it just looks like a candle, a rectangular candle. That's what it looks like. It's only short of a, what do you call them things that comes out of a candle?
Wick.
A wick. And it is wicked. I had a nibble of it last night, and I tell you what, guys, I've never tasted something like this. Now, it does have a bit of a backstory. My sister Molly, who's been on the podcast a couple of times, and my sister Kate and my mother were in Scotland. Was it in Aberdeen? You got this, Molly? By the way, I am going to taste this in a sec. I'm going to just... I rubbed it off my tooth last night, and it was just... I couldn't sleep.
We got it on the way from Aberdeen Airport to a place called Lossiemouth, which is basically just a big long motorway, like going through the Highlands, basically, or around the Highlands.
Lossiemouth.
Yeah,
So
Lossiemouth was the destination, but I didn't get it there. I got it in a petrol station on the side of the road. We have to stop to
So,
go to the toilet.
near Aberdeen somewhere.
Yeah, about 30, 40 minutes outside Aberdeen.
And I've looked into them. They were invented around 1700. I tell you, but they should have been banished by 1701. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the backstory of it is, so the woman in the garage, Molly, you spotted these, didn't you?
Yeah, I was up paying for a drink or something, and I saw them. They were at the till, and I was like, "What is that?" And she was like, "Do you have a sweet tooth?"
So if you didn't hear that, Molly was just getting some at the till. They'd run into the garage. She saw it out of the corner of her eye, and she said, "What is that thing?" And the woman said, "Do you have a sweet tooth?"
And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And she was like, "You'll like this then." And I was like, "Okay, give me one." And then she was like, "Make sure you have a strong cup of tea to cut through the sweetness."
Make sure you have a what?
A strong,
A strong cup of tea to cut through the sweetness. And then she brought it home, sent me a picture of it, and she's like, "I have this for you. I keep forgetting to give it to you." Last night she brought it in, and I swear to God, I'm gonna, just for you guys, I'm gonna take a little bite of it now. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I have to show you. It's just the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life. It's the most horrible sweet thing I've ever had in my life, and you'd want a strong cup of tea. You'd want a strong, I don't know what you'd want after it, but anyway, here we are now. I'll take a little taste test. Fucking hell. Oh, it's the war. I just had to show you how bad it is. Scottish butter tablet. Oh, your eyes are watering. Oh, I swear, I took too big of a bite. Anyway, last night I just took a little tiny nibble of it, and I thought she was tricking me or something. So I just said, I had it in my house. I said I'd show you what it was like. It's absolutely disgusting. So thanks, Molly. Thanks for that gift back from wherever you got it, near Aberdeen. It's just the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life. Worse than wasabi. Wasabi's the other bad thing I've had. and Coleman's English mustard. But them, I think that's number one. All right, Molly. Thanks very much.
Okay, bye.
Do you want that?
I'm good. You hold on to it.
All right.
See you later.
Oh. Okay. So that was that, guys. Don't get one of them. Don't do it if you ever see them. Don't let them swizz you into getting one of them. There you go. Anyway, I had to just show you that. Unbelievable. Even the shark won't eat it. Look. So I suppose that's that segment, if you want to call it that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a little bit more serious. Well, that was serious. The taste off that bar, but whatever it is, a butter tablet. So I'm going to move on to something a bit more serious now. And I just feel like it's something I want to share. My best mate, Quinner, got bad news last week regarding his mother. She had a brief stint with cancer a couple of years ago and found out last week that it's returned to her lung. They were waiting on news on that, and thankfully it's just localized in her lung. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they got pretty good news. But I think as a 37-year-old man now, Quinner's in his late 30s as well, all my friends would be in that kind of bracket. Of course I have friends that are younger as well on the comedy scene, and I'd class a lot of people as friends who are younger than me too, and older than that. But in my general friend group, and to anyone listening actually who's mid 30s, mid 40s, maybe older as well, or younger, it depends on the age of your parents, but it's hard to wrestle with the prevailing inevitable mortality of one's parents, I think. Especially if you had a good relationship with them. Like my parents, for example, when something like that happens to your best mate's mother, it makes you think about your own family. And I have naturally thought about it as well. As they've gotten older, of course you think about the inevitable thing. And I know this is very serious and all that, but he was ready for the worst case scenario. Thankfully it didn't come true, but I just want to read this out. This is something that I just wrote into. I'm in a WhatsApp group with Quinner and Jim, two of my best mates, and this just started coming out of me. And I was talking to him about it, and he said you should share that. It might help other people that kind of are getting to the age where their parents are getting a bit older. And if you have siblings as well, or even if you're an only child, if you're in a close family, this was specifically aimed at my friend Keith, but this might apply to you as well. And it applies to, it's basically, I find it quite uncomfortable to get serious here. It's supposed to be a comedy podcast, but it ends a bit lightly anyway, I think. So this is for people like me, men like Keith, whose parents are getting a bit older. Maybe it will help. This is the time to showcase all of the resilience accrued from all the difficult experiences you've had over the years. When a parent gets sick, it's the most difficult thing of all. They are the only ones who love us unconditionally. If we're lucky enough to have loving parents, it comes to us all eventually. Be brave, my friend. You'll no doubt emerge stronger, no matter the outcome. Feel everything. Express everything. Be strong for the weaker ones in your family. You are the man. And remember, We're monkeys on a rock that's the size of a grain of sand in the context of the universe. And in 100 years, nobody will remember you, me, Jim, your mother, or anyone else. That might help someone in some way. And I realise that some people listening or watching may have already gone through hardship. There is a thing about definitely. My family had another loss recently. We lost my dog, Yanto. It's a Welsh name. It's named after my granddad, my great granddad. 12 years old, we lost him. In the last few years, we've lost my brother, my auntie, and now Yanto as well. I think losing these beings made me sit back and reflect on it. And also thinking about the mortality of the older people in my life, such as my parents. It made me realise that the more people that you love in your life, then unfortunately, the more grief you're going to feel later on in life. But it's a stark realisation, but I think you're better off to know these things rather than get blindsided by them. You can't just live in a fantasy world of like that everybody's going to live forever, because they're not. And I think that should both have a compounding effect on how much you enjoy life and being healthy. I've been quite sick in the past myself, and on the brink, and that did nothing but made me appreciate life a bit more and my time a bit more. Do whatever you can to make you strong and keep on top of your feelings so that there's not residual feelings when the tragedy does happen or when the sadness comes. You don't want to have to deal with a whole barrage of feelings at once, in my opinion. I've been doing grievance counselling for the last 17 weeks or so. What came up the other day was he spoke to me about the fact that I don't seem to have anxiety, and he asked me why I think that might be. And it turns out that the reason that I don't have anxiety in general is because I tend to deal with things head on. And I'm not preaching from a high horse here. I'm just saying it's how I am. Sometimes I'm too bullheaded and I say what I think too quick, which can be a drawback of being like that. But generally, if there's an issue, I tackle it head on and I get it out of the way. And there's little things that build up. Like, for example, my bed sheets, I hadn't washed them in a few weeks, and that was niggling away at me, kind of. And that doesn't seem like a significant thing, but it was. For the last week I've been like, you should wash them, and then you're sleeping in it and it's like, and they're not filthy or anything, but you know they could be clean. And you feel that every time you get into your bed. I could feel it for the last week. You need to wash your sheets. You need to wash it. It'll be fresh. It'll be nice. So tonight I was like, right, I'm just going to do it. And I threw them in the washing machine. And that's it. That's gone now. That's like done. Now I do have to put them back on, which is quite concerning. That's actually giving me a bit of a... I'm only joking. Little things. Don't leave things floating anxiety, people say. Floating anxiety is just the things that you haven't nipped in the bud. That's what's floating. That's what's causing it. And even to identify an issue in your life and start to deal with it, that'll get rid of some of that anxiety. Like I say, it can be a drawback as well when you tackle things head on. And there could be some collateral damage for a couple of days even. But that settles. And it clears the air. If you're not happy with something, write down the things you're not happy about at the moment. Write down the things you need to do that you feel guilty about not doing, and then do them. And you'll find that there's a serious weight lifted off your shoulders. This helps. I have an outlet here, I get to speak to you guys and all that as well, which is nice. And I thank you all for that, for listening to me and for supporting me. So that's what I have to say about that. I spoke it through with my therapist, counsellor, whatever you call him. And that's the conclusion that we came to. I was telling him that I just tackle things. If they're annoying me, I just go, boom, that's it. Let's do it. Say it. If I'm ever going into a dealing with someone, whether it's business, whatever it is, money is usually the root of all problems, especially in business. That sounds obvious, but you need to trash that stuff out at the start. If you're thinking of starting a venture, if you're thinking of starting a business venture, no matter how friendly you are, and no matter how much you don't want to make it about money, the money thing has to come first. How much am I getting paid? When am I getting paid? How much are you getting paid? When do you get that? Boom, the air is clear, and that's one massive thing that you won't have to fall out about in the future. Sure, other things can happen, but get the money out of the way in any situation. If someone owes you money, tackle that. If you owe someone money, that will niggle at you as well. If you need to start a payment plan because you can't afford to pay some bill, do that. I'm no expert, by the way. I'm definitely no expert with money, when it comes to money. Not at all. But anxiety doesn't just come from nowhere. It has roots. And even being aware of what they are, where the roots are, that will help. And I think I can only speak for myself as a man, and I could be better. There's a lot of things I can improve on, and I know that. But action is the only way to do that. Like, I want to work out more. I want to eat better. I think you have to be in the right frame of mind to do those things as well, and I'm working on it. Sorry, I will say, guys, as well, please, if you're watching or listening on Spotify, please follow and rate 5 stars. Same at Apple, that'd be great. Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching this. YouTube, please like and subscribe. There is a link in the episode description if you want to donate. That would be great as well, to support the podcast, buy guest coffees, etc. This stuff doesn't feel right to talk about, but it is what's on my chest. And I think I am a stand-up comedian, if you don't know that. And I wouldn't be talking about this stuff on stage because it's not funny. But I think in order to create comedy and to feel light enough to create comedy and to look at situations where the cloak of anxiety is lifted off, things become a lot lighter, and you would start to notice maybe beauty in the simplicity of things and silly stuff day to day, because that everything isn't coloured with floating anxiety anymore. I don't know what percentage of people have anxiety. And it's different to depression, obviously. Depression is something else altogether. But do what you can, little by little, to lift off the cloak of anxiety. And you will find, hopefully, a lot more lightness in life. Things become lighter. I guess you can be more present. Wash the sheets. Hoover the carpet. Even little things like that, when you clean the house. when one cleans the house, how do you feel? I know when I clean the house, or if I clean my bedroom, clean the kitchen, I'm like, there's a bit of worry gone. There's a bit of anxiety gone. I don't know if anxiety and worry are the same things. I think worry is kind of directed at one thing, and then anxiety kind of floats about. And what's the word? I would say anxiety dilutes your awareness. Dilutes awareness and concentrates worry. I would say. That's my opinion. Everybody feels it in a different way, I'm sure. And I think the way that I can relate this serious sort of content back to comedy is that letting this out and talking about it lets my mind be free to think about other things that you're passionate about. For me, it's comedy and writing jokes and finding fun in the mundane. For you, it could be art or soccer or whatever. Dancing. Whatever you like to get up to. But I just think it lets you focus on those things a bit more. Now, that was good crack, wasn't it? Oh yeah. I would compare love and loss to drinking and hangovers. Like, the more love that you have in your life, the more people that you genuinely love and you connect with and you're fond of, the more grief you're gonna have when they're gone, or when something happens to them, or if they just grow old and are gone. It reminded me of a good drinking session. You know, you're drinking loads of pints and you feel amazing, and then you have a hangover. That's like the grief, and the pints are like the people you love. Eventually it fades away and you get back to yourself though. And then you go, Jesus, never drinking again. Some people do that as well. They isolate themselves. They say, I'm never going to love anyone again. They might have loved one person very dearly, and then the loss that they felt from losing that person made them turn away from the world. And then they were like, I'm never going out again. So I think that loosely relates back to the pints somehow. Even though it's good to not drink, but you need to be social. It's like the socialising and the drink is the love. And then the loneliness and the darkness the next morning is the grief and the hangover. And you will be saying, yeah, never drinking again. But you will, and you should. Just not to excess, not too much. But enjoy life. It's all about balance. In my opinion. I don't know how much of this I'm going to keep in the episode. But that phrase, may the road rise to meet you, came into my mind the other day. No, I don't want to walk up a hill. Why would you want that? It should be made a road slope to help you. I'm sick of walking up hills, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, I know that it's difficult. It's difficult to listen to one person for too long. And I know that the episodes are probably better when I have a guest on. But I just couldn't get anyone for tonight, and the episode has to go out, so this is what I decided I'd talk about. I hope you've enjoyed it. I thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate you. Thanks to any new followers or subscribers in the last few days, or just thank you in general. I do appreciate it. Learn to the earn, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys, and goodbye.